Alright, it is officially time to conclude the Batman portion of this video series with the concluding chapter of the Dark Knight trilogy, The Dark Knight Rises. Now, as I mentioned in my spoiler for it, The Dark Knight is one of the greatest movies ever. And not only did The Dark Knight Rises have the pressure of following that movie, but it also had the pressure of making sure it would conclude this trilogy on a high note. And me personally, I think The Dark Knight Rises does exactly that. So now let's talk about the epic conclusion to this monumental trilogy. So much like The Dark Knight, this movie opens up with an awesome scene that immediately sucks you into it. These three guys with bags over their head are taken aboard this plane because they are believed to be working for a masked man called Bane. And eventually on the plane, we see that Bane is one of these guys. He's played by Tom Hardy. He's a big jack dude with a mask over his face, and you can tell right out the gate that this guy means business. Particularly when he tells the leader of the people on this plane that his intention is crashing this plane with no survivors. And he has his allies storm in on a much bigger plane. They're basically able to disable the plane that Bane is on. They abduct the scientist on board, and Bane is able to escape this plane as it just falls out of the sky. So already you're thinking, this guy may not be the Joker, but he's pretty fucking hardcore. So now we get back to Gotham itself. It has been 8 years since the death of Harvey Dent. And thanks to the new Dent Act, Gotham's police have basically been able to eradicate all crime in the city. So naturally, Gotham is now the place to be. But at the same time, Batman is still the biggest enemy to Gotham because they still believe him to be a murdering thug who killed innocent people, including Harvey Dent. So as a result, Bruce Wayne has basically exiled himself from everybody. He's retired from Batman. He needs to walk with a cane now because there is absolutely no cartilage in his knee. Wayne Enterprises is in the shitter because he invested everything into a clean energy project that could basically be turned into a nuclear weapon. Point is, nobody has seen Bruce Wayne in forever. That is until one of his maids, Selina Kyle, played by Anne Hathaway, shows up and steals not only his mother's pearl necklace, but also Bruce's fingerprints. So now Bruce goes back to the Batcave to see if he can learn a little bit more about Selina Kyle. He sees that she is in fact a master thief known as Catwoman. And Alfred, of course, somewhat jokingly though, thinks the two should meet for a date. But this is primarily because he sees that Bruce, even though he has now retired, has clearly not moved on. He then goes on to tell Bruce a little story about how when he was gone for 7 years when he was training in Batman Begins, Alfred always hoped that at a cafe he would go to in Florence during a vacation, that on one of these occasions he would see Bruce there with a wife and maybe even a few kids. Because then he would see that Bruce had made it and was happy, and he knows he can't be happy in Gotham. Now we finally see what Selina Kyle wants Bruce's fingerprints for, and that is so she can sell them to Bruce's business rival John Daggett so he can take over Wayne Enterprises. And in return, he gives Selina Kyle some kind of data chip that can completely erase her criminal record. She is denied that, but before she can be killed, the police show up for the congressman that she kidnapped. An investigation that leads to Commissioner Gordon being abducted by these terrorists who then bring him into the sewer to meet Bane. And here we see just how much fear and control Bane has over his soldiers. He just chokes one of these guys to death, and then he turns to the second guy and he says to him, "Search him, then I will kill you." You hear those words and it just leaves you like, yeah, he's just a smidge pissed off. Bane then finds Gordon's speech that he was prepared to read to the public, but Gordon is luckily able to escape from Bane, albeit critically wounded in the process. After this, police officer John Blake, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, decides to visit Bruce Wayne to see if he can ask him some questions. Here we learn that Blake's parents were also killed when he was a kid, and as a result, he was placed in an orphanage. But when he saw Bruce Wayne for the very first time when he was a young kid, he just knew immediately that he was Batman. And he tells Bruce that the city needs Batman to come back because Bane is now here and he is ready to make Gotham his bitch. With that, Bruce decides to meet with Lucius Fox again. He gives Bruce some kind of leg strap thing so he can walk again, and he also gives him a new form of transportation called the Bat. And this thing is just awesome. I think it's meant to be some kind of hybrid between the Batplane and the Batcopter. Shut up, I am not a nerd. I just think Batman's cool. But before Bruce can go after Bane, Alfred feels he should give him a little backstory about Bane. He tells him how Bane came from a prison from a more ancient part of the world, and it's a pit that's basically meant to be known as Hell on Earth. And then when he escaped, he joined the League of Shadows, only to be excommunicated by Ra's al Ghul himself. So yeah, Alfred is all like, this dude is an insane fighter. He was viewed as too extreme for the guy who almost destroyed Gotham. Someone like that would be hard to fight in Batman's prime. And now Bruce just thinks he can put the cape and the cowl back on and then strap up his leg, but that's not gonna make him Batman again. All Alfred sees is Bruce actively trying to find a way to get himself killed. Now we see Batman get his chance to take on Bane. Bane has used Bruce's stolen fingerprints to place a lot of really bad investments in his name, which as a result will bankrupt Bruce and put Wayne Enterprises into John Daggett's hands. Batman tries to go after him, but he is unable to do so. Especially when Gotham's police arrive and see this as the perfect opportunity to take down the Batman. It gives us a really intense chase scene between the police and Batman. He's able to evade most of them through the Bat-Pod, but he is officially able to escape all of them through the Bat, which he then uses to save Catwoman from being killed by Bane's men. And now she tells Batman of what John Daggett's intentions are, and with that, Bruce decides to make Miranda Tate the head of the company in place of Daggett. So then John Daggett has the balls to get all up in Bane's face and tell him how he screwed everything up for him. His assistant tries to leave and he tries to be all like, stay here, I'm in charge. And then Bane just places his hand on Daggett's shoulder and he says, do you feel in charge? And from there he just snaps Daggett's neck after he tells him that he's Gotham's reckoning. Bruce now has the intentions to obviously go after Bane again, but here Alfred tells him that he is officially leaving because he does not want to bury another member of the Wayne family. And here's where he also tells Bruce that Rachel had written a letter telling him that she had chosen Harvey Dent over him, and Alfred decided to burn that letter to spare Bruce the pain. So later on, Catwoman ends up leading Batman directly to Bane, where he greets him by saying, let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. And now we get to see the two of them fight each other, and Batman completely gets his ass served to him on a silver platter. The fight ends with Bane and his men stealing Batman's arsenal, and Bane taking Batman and just breaking his back. Bane then brings Bruce to the prison pit that he came from, and he tells Bruce that his intention is to torture him by forcing him to watch on TV Bane take over Gotham, feed the people false hope before fulfilling Ra's al Ghul's destiny in destroying Gotham. And the first thing he does is he has the Russian scientist that he abducted from earlier in the movie recalibrate the Clean Energy Project thing into a nuclear bomb. Bane then blows up Gotham's bridges and a ton of its roads to basically exile it from the world. He is also able to lure all of Gotham's police underground and trap them there with the sole exceptions of Blake and Gordon. He even destroys Gotham's football field, which leads to the death of the mayor and him publicly executing the Russian scientist. Bane then tells the people that if anyone tries to leave or enter the city, an unknown trigger man will activate the bomb. From there, Bane gives a huge speech in front of Blackgate Prison, where he proceeds to read James Gordon's essay to everyone, stating how Batman had saved his son from being killed by Harvey Dent, and how he can no longer live with having to praise the man who tried to kill his boy. And from here, Bane just goes off. And do you accept this man's resignation? And do you accept the resignation of all these liars? Of all the corrupt? From there, he releases all the prisoners from Blackgate, and he tells the people of Gotham that he and his men are intending to return the city back to them. They're all now free to do as they please. They can live their lives as they wish to live them. He has the wealthy and the powerful removed from their homes and brought to a sentencing hearing run by Jonathan Crane to determine if they will be given exile or death, either one leading to death. And he leaves the police to suffer underground so they can learn to serve true justice while the bomb just continues to start ticking away. Bruce sees all of this happening and it gives him every bit of motivation he needs to want to return to save Gotham. Unfortunately, the only way to escape is if Bruce can climb up the pit and then leap onto a ledge that will get him to freedom, which seems almost impossible. The inmates, however, tell Bruce a story of a mercenary who fell in love with the warlord's daughter. He was sentenced to the pit, but his wife took his place pregnant with their child. She eventually died in prison, but the child was able to climb out of the pit to freedom. And Bruce, after speaking with Ra's al Ghul, comes to the conclusion that Bane is the child who escaped from prison. Now we see Bruce training in the prison to become Batman once again. He's doing push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, everything he needs to do to get back into his physical prime. However, when he tries to climb out of the pits a couple times, he fails on both occasions. One of the inmates tells Bruce that the only possible way to climb out is through fear. Bruce has to climb without the rope. He's climbing the pit, the people in the prison are chanting for him to rise, and he makes the jump for the ledge, and he makes it. And this is such a great scene, not just because of the intensity that is in it, but also because we see that Bruce has truly become the Batman once again. Not just physically, but spiritually too. I get chills every time I watch that scene. It's just so good. Now by the time Bruce has returned, they have about a day before the bomb goes off. He runs into Selina Kyle, and not only does he give her the clean slate that she's been looking for, but he also gives her the bat pod so she can blow up in a tunnel for civilians to escape in. She however says that after that, she is leaving. She tries to get Batman to come with her, but he refuses because he has not given this city everything yet. Batman then has Lucius Fox prepare the reactor to deactivate the bomb, while having Gordon plant an EMP device on the bomb so the trigger man cannot prematurely detonate it. Batman and John Blake are able to set all of the police troops free, and now Batman has an army for an all-out assault on Bane. And seeing the two of them ready to throw down again is just awesome. So you came back to die with your city? No, I came back to stop you. Except Bane now realizes that Batman is a lot stronger than he was the last time he faced him, which has Bane very frustrated. He's just swinging mildly at him, he's punching through pillars, and Batman is now able to damage Bane's mask, which causes Bane to start feeling the pain that he suffered from prison once again. He tries to get Bane to tell him who the trigger man is, only for Batman to get stabbed by said person, who happens to also be the real child of Ra's al Ghul, Miranda Tate, whose real name happens to be Talia al Ghul. She tries to detonate the bomb, but the EMP has blocked her signal, and now the heroes officially have 11 minutes to save Gotham. Bane, in the meantime, is just about to kill Batman, but Catwoman storms in on the Batpod and uses it to kill Bane. They all now go after Talia, and they're able to crash her vehicle, which eventually does kill her. But just before she dies, she reveals to them that she had already reactivated the emergency flood in the reactor chamber, so it cannot be used to deactivate the bomb. Blake, in the meantime, has been trying to get the kids from the orphanage across the remaining bridge to freedom, but the police on the other side detonate the bridge out of their own fear. With that, it officially looks like there's just no hope for anybody. There is, however, one last solution. Batman intends to hook the bomb up to the bat and then fly out over the bay far away from the city so no one can be killed by it. But the autopilot on the bat doesn't work, which means Batman will have to fly it out himself. He and Catwoman share one last kiss between each other, and James Gordon simply asks Batman who he is. To which he says, "A hero can be anybody, even someone who does something as simple as putting a coat around a young child to let him know the world hadn't ended." It takes Gordon a second to think about it, but he realizes that Batman is Bruce Wayne. So Batman flies it out over the bay, everyone watches him do it. The bomb goes off, the city and all of its people are safe, and it leaves you sitting there like, Batman. So now a funeral is held for Bruce Wayne, but what I really liked about this funeral is only the people who knew he was Batman attended it. Gordon, Fox, Blake, and Alfred. Blake tells Gordon that he is quitting the force because of the actions by the police who destroyed that bridge. Batman has a statue made in his honor for saving the city. Everyone else believes that Bruce Wayne was simply killed in the riot, so now his will has to be made in order. He asks that his mansion be made as a new home for orphans, and the rest of his estate is left to Alfred. John Blake then goes to see what was left for him, but they tell him that they don't see anything under his name, until he gives them his legal name, Robin. I just think having Robin portrayed as a police officer working alongside Batman works so much better for this movie rather than having him being made another masked vigilante. We see that he has been given spelunking gear and GPS coordinates to the Batcave. Lucius is told that the autopilot for the Bat was fixed by Bruce Wayne. Gordon sees that the Bat signal has been refurbished. And finally, we see Alfred once again in that cafe in Florence where he sees Bruce Wayne alive and well with Selina Kyle. All of which leaves you like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap! The very final scene shows Robin exploring the Batcave a little bit more, suggesting that he will become the new heir to Batman's legacy. All of that together is the perfect way to end this movie along with this trilogy. I honestly think it's one of the greatest endings to a movie ever. It's so satisfying. So all in all, The Dark Knight Rises is an incredible movie and a fantastic conclusion to this monumental trilogy. The cast that was a part of this trilogy were all amazing. Tom Hardy absolutely killed it as Bane, who I thought was the perfect villain to go with for this movie. Because naturally, Heath Ledger was so amazing as the Joker. It left everyone wondering, how do you top that? But Christopher Nolan very wisely decided to go with a Batman villain that is completely different from the Joker. Tom Hardy did great in making Bane so methodical, evil, and just brutal. I mean, intellectually, he's a really smart villain, but what I love most about him is the fact that he is a guy who is physically superior to Batman, which makes him that much more of a challenge, and it's awesome. Anne Hathaway kicked ass as Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. I mean, she was hot, she was smart, she was a great fighter. I love seeing how she wants a clean slate more than anything else. I loved seeing how she and Batman eventually developed this romance between each other. Seriously though, she was super hot in this movie. I mean, Anne Hathaway in a tight leather catsuit, you just can't ask for much else. The twist on Miranda Tate being Ra's al Ghul's child I thought was a great twist for the movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was awesome as John Blake, who turned out to be Robin. I mean, he was tough. You can see the care he has for the people in Gotham. He was able to kick ass when he needed to. He really did look like an up-and-coming Batman, which I thought was great. The action and the fight scenes in this movie continued their streak of being awesome. The story is great. The musical score is awesome. I also really like seeing how this movie decided to focus on Bruce Wayne starting off as a really reclusive, damaged cripple to becoming the Batman again. I think it worked out great for this movie. I know some people out there, for reasons I have no idea of, do not like this movie, but I absolutely love it. I think it's the second best movie in this trilogy, and it's the perfect way to end it. This is easily one of the best trilogies of all time, particularly because all three of these movies are just so awesome. So much so that anyone could pick any one of these three movies as their personal favorite, and it's completely justifiable. There are not many trilogies like that, but this is one of them. And there it is. I have done spoilers for the Dark Knight trilogy. Christian Bale left big shoes for Ben Affleck to fill, but I am rooting for my fellow Bostonian to pull it off. But now it's on to talk about the latest Superman movie and the first movie of the DC Cinematic Universe, Man of Steel. A spoiler for that should hopefully be up soon, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it with you all. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.